For every epiphany that a movie director has in Hollywood, that opinion always comes and is founded by a baffling and bonkers reasoning.
Whoa!
So we have to talk about today is the director of The Flash. Do y'all remember that with Ezra Miller? Yeah. Andy Muschietti is talking about the reason why his movie failed, why it was such a flop at the box office. Trust me, yeah, get ready. So the director Andy Muschietti says the film flopped because it wasn't a movie that appealed to the four quadrants. Now, what are those four quadrants? Before reading this article, I didn't know. But Andy Muschietti says that it failed at that. Once you find out, you'll be laughing just as hard as I was and slapping your knee. It's going to be a good old time. So he has his own thoughts. Obviously, they're his own thoughts because no one else would have even come close to blaming this as the reason why the Flash failed. It grossed 271 million by the end of its run. Not a small figure by any means. That is a small figure when in comparison to its production budget. By the way, that production budget is not including the marketing budget that they did for it. So 271 million isn't even a drop in the bucket towards getting back towards the black. But they say that they need to double that figure to get out of the red. No, they more closely needed to triple that number. They don't need to triple 271 million, but they need to get way closer to about 580, 600 million at the box office worldwide in order to get back into the black. Now, Muschietti said the reason that they couldn't recoup the cost was because it failed to hit all four quadrants. What are they? Rattle them off. Men under over 25, men under 25. So, men, women over 25, women under 25. So, women. So, these are two quadrants because men and women under 25 aren't really big into comic books. They wouldn't know much about the whole history, story, and lore of the Flash. Same thing with men. They know what they grew up with. They haven't read the comics. The ones who actually would care were men over 25, women over 25. And that's still a niche audience as well for who's going to be interested in this character. Also, 25 is just a weird number to like cut it off at. But I digress. We're not going to go into that too much further. What you should have done is just make a good movie instead of blaming it on other stuff. The Flash failed among all other reasons because it wasn't a movie that appealed to all four quadrants. When you spend $200 million making a movie, Warner Brothers wants to bring even your grandma to the theaters. Well, your grandma is not going to go see a superhero movie unless she's just out of her mind with Alzheimer's. Oh, look at the flashy lights. I love the talkies. She's not going to be caring about that. You're going to have to get kids involved for like the grandma while she's babysitting from your parents to be like, okay, in order to shut these kids up or at least show them a good time, I'll take you to the movie theaters. But she herself will not be interested in it. That was never be your demographic. That will never be your base for these kind of films. Now, Muschietti goes on to say that behind closed doors, he found people don't care about the Flash as much as other beloved DC icons like Batman or Superman. Yeah, they don't. Can you understand why? Do you understand why? Because Flash made it into the Justice League. He is one of the OG members of the Justice League from the comics. The reason why these things are because his character wasn't fleshed out in the DCU. That's the whole big reason. Also, who you chose to cast as the main actor and the player of Flash. Yeah, that's another horrible choice made by Zack Snyder. Granted, not made by you, but you still decided to go on with it. So it does kind of fall on you that you're wondering, just throwing darts in the air on why this just wasn't going to work from the first place. But James Gunn liked it. Sure, sure, ma'am. Well, you know what? Iron Man is a B tier superhero, but Robert Downey Jr. has that charisma and the way that he plays the screen persona, his presence, that made him turn into an A list, like one of the founding of, Avengers, and one of the characters that people care about the most. Thor, no one gave a crap about Thor, but you get Chris Hemsworth. He's got the charisma. Ladies like the way he looks. He seems like a guy you're like, wow, I kind of want to just like go drinking with him. And then he plays this character that has a lot of things to do in the comics, but not really well known. Another B list superhero that became A list because of the casting. Say the same thing with Aquaman. Now, DC, this was the one time where I guess you quote unquote did something halfway right. A lot of people think Aquaman is gay. He definitely looks gay, but you put Jason Momoa, someone who has charisma, and ladies love that his muscliness. That's what bridged the gap from the comic book version to the live action version. You had to have people with charisma. Who did you decide to play the Flash instead? It's Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller. Now, I love that the quadrants are all strictly binary whenever your main character is a non-binary person. Love that. It's sweet off the lips. Also, I don't want to call him a PDF file, but a lot of drama going on with him, including arrest. And this was all happening before the movie was released. They decided to keep him on and not just fire him from the get-go. Anyway, you still decided to go forward with that train wreck. That's on you. He's not getting girls wet. I'm sorry, he's just not. But that's what you kind of needed. He doesn't have charisma. And the way that you decided to try to bang people over the head with like, oh, look at Ezra Miller's charisma is by having him play different versions of himself. So like he's two characters in the freaking movie. As if people weren't already tired of seeing his face, the Mad Goose Wizard. Great. It was funny for one clip. We also didn't know what the fuck it meant the entire time. This all falls on you. I found in private conversations that a lot of people just don't care about the Flash as a character. That's bullshit. That is 100% bullshit. People care about the Flash as a character. You just haven't developed that character within the cinematic universe. The cinematic universe is mostly comprised nowadays of a bunch of normies. It's a bunch of normies because all of the hardcore fans have fled because they saw that you weren't paying attention to the comics, the actual lore, and you were instead trying to do your own little flashy, not to use that as a pun, but your own flashy renditions of characters that people actually used to love and actually have stories and everything like that. So yeah, they're gone. So let me ask you this question. Who was your movie for? Now, in order to wrap all this up, that's basically all I have to say. But every time that I see a director talk about why their film flopped, why their movie failed, why people didn't want to go see it, it's always some hyped up, highfalutin, and hijacked reason that makes absolutely no sense. So if you can make sense of this, well, we didn't hit the 4 quadrants. What are those 4 quadrants? Well, those 4 quadrants are every person on this planet, except for hermaphrodites, I guess. So you didn't hit anybody. Good for you, man. I'm sure you'll get some work in the future. Oh, wait. You do have work coming up in James Gunn's DC universe because he loved The Flash, even though it freaking bombed. Maybe your next outing will be more favorable to you. But if you guys have anything to say, please leave it down in the comment section below. This is Multi from the GCA. We love y'all. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.